Hey Pretty Girl Club. So today I'm going to prove to you that exoticals are not only the standard of beauty, but also the standard of living. So let's start off talking about the beauty standard. Dark-skinned black women's beauty standard is having a dark skin tone with keener features and looser textured hair. You'll see a lot of dark-skinned, unambiguous women living vicariously through women with the Horn African phenotype. You'll see them living vicariously through women like Bernice Burgos, Tatiana Ali, and Ryan Destiny. All three of those women are actually mixed race, and all three of those women benefit from texturism. So that's number one. The beauty standard is literally dark-skinned, mixed race women. So they will wear hair extensions that resemble the hair textures of a lot of Horn African women. But on top of that, exoticals are also the standard of living. Have you ever wondered why unambiguous women are so curious about our lives as exoticals? Have you ever wondered why they study us and why they study our femininity, why they study our dating lives, and why they used to make a lot of videos complaining about us being the preferences? Well, it's because we are also the standard of living. Example number one is Zendaya with Tom Holland. Zendaya represents the type of lifestyle that a lot of unambiguous women wish they could have. A lot of unambiguous women's dream is to be famous and to be like an actress or to be some sort of a public figure and, of course, to marry a white man. And this is so true to the point where black men will actually gaslight black women by throwing it in their face that, hey, look at Zendaya. She got a ring before she got a baby. I see that even black men notice how much black women worship multiracial women's relationship status. So that's number one. A lot of black women, they live vicariously through women like Zendaya, or they wish they could have Zendaya's relationship with a man like Tom Holland. Exhibit B is Nara Smith. A lot of unambiguous black women wish they could live kind of this trad wife lifestyle that Nara Smith has. They wish they could be a model on the side like Nara Smith and be married to a handsome, wealthy white man like Lucky Blue Smith. Nara Smith also represents the lifestyle that a lot of unambiguous women wish they could have. Exhibit number 3, let's talk about some of the men. The recent obsession with Pierre. Pierre represents the archetype of the type of man that a lot of unambiguous women want. Unambiguous women try to pretend like they're not attracted to MLS men. It's not that they're not attracted to MLS men, it's that a lot of them are actually jealous of the status and the attractiveness of MLS men. So a lot of unambiguous black women will actually do the same humbling tactic with MLS men that they do with MLS women. So it's very similar to how some unambiguous black men are jealous of MLS women. You know how they will try to humble us? They'll try to say things like, she's not even that light-skinned, or she's not as ambiguous as somebody else. A lot of unambiguous black women will use that same behavior towards mixed and light-skinned men. Because I actually saw some black women saying, oh, well, he's not that light-skinned. And it's like, okay, why are you trying to place him on a hierarchy and humble him? Like, you're literally trying to humble him because you're mad that he's getting a lot of media attention. You're basically mad at the pedestal he's being put on. So I told you guys that black women and black men are often two sides of the same coin. But another example of how exoticals are the standard of living is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is seen as a provider king. He is seen as kind of the ideal of what a lot of black women want to be like. He is seen as being a good husband because he's like married to Sierra and stuff. So a lot of black women, once again, they're actually fantasizing about getting access to the type of lifestyle and a type of man like Russell Wilson. So the type of man who will help you buy your masters, the man who will provide and all that. So believe it or not, Russell Wilson is actually one of the faces of masculinity and being successful in hypergamy in the black femininity spaces. The next example of the social climbing queens are Lori Harvey and Marjorie Harvey. Marjorie Harvey is mixed race, which would make Lori Harvey multi-generationally mixed. So once again, you've got two exoticals who are seen as the face of social climbing. A lot of women, they use Lori Harvey in their thumbnails whenever they're making videos about black femininity. They don't use pictures of Lupita Nyong'o. They don't use pictures of an unambiguous dark-skinned woman with broad features and shrunken 4C hair as the face of femininity and social climbing. No, they use women like Lori Harvey to be their example of being a social climbing queen and, kind of living your best life. I saw a lot of black women talking about how Lori Harvey made the right decision by not marrying men like Michael B. Jordan or Diddy or Future or any of those guys that she was with in the past. So once again, Lori Harvey is another example, and Marjorie Harvey is also an example of being kind of like this hypergamous queen or kind of being this unbothered, unattainable girl. So when Chrissy made that video recently saying how black women are not the face of hypergamy, she was correct in saying that. And that's because Exoticals are not only the standard of beauty for a lot of black women, but we are also the standard of dating and hypergamy and the standard of living. So this is why a lot of them pry into our dating lives. This also would explain why they are so shocked when women have relationships that don't work out. So remember how they were like so shocked when Danny Lay was abused by that rapper guy. They make all of these videos where it's like, oh my God, they became baby mamas. It's because in their eyes, it is more rare for preferences, quote unquote, to be mistreated as opposed to unambiguous black women. So that's why they're so shocked to the point where they have to make a video because they're like, oh my God, she is one of the Exoticals that doesn't meet the stereotype of Exoticals, which is being this hypergamous social climbing queen who's just unbothered. She doesn't meet that stereotype. She failed to live up to the exotical, social climbing, hypergamous feminine image. And so I'm so shocked by this. This is such tea. I have to spill the tea by making all of these videos about it because that's how rare it is to see these quote unquote preferences being turned into baby mamas. Usually the unambiguous women are the ones who are turned into baby mamas. And this is according to their own talking points, by the way. All you have to do is go watch divested YouTube channels, and they will talk about how badly they get treated by black men. And by the way, it's funny because they'll make these videos saying that like the Exoticals get treated bad or we get treated the same as unambiguous women, but then they'll turn around and say that we're preferences and that we have privileges. So which one is it? Are we preferences? Do we have any privileges or do we not? Because if we get treated the exact same as you, then that would mean that our privileges do not exist. That would mean that colorism, texturism, and featureism don't exist in terms of dating and like how you're treated in society. So which one is it? Do we get treated differently? Or is it that colorism, texturism, and featureism don't exist? Either way, you're making yourselves look stupid because if you're saying that Exoticals get treated the exact same way as unambiguous women, then what's your excuse for your failed relationships or your failed social climbing goals? But another thing I've noticed too is that Exoticals are often the face of things like talent, things like leveling up. They will study the femininity of a lot of the early 90s and 2000s MLS women, such as Aaliyah. She is highly reverenced for her beauty and stuff like that. So in the media and behind closed doors, unambiguous women are literally worshiping and complimenting the beauty and the phenotypes of Exoticals of all shades and Exoticals who are mixed race or monoracial. But then when they come across you in real life, they want to suddenly act like, oh, you're nothing special. You don't have access to anything that I don't have access to, when we know that that's not true. Because according to their own talking points, the Exoticals are able to get into rooms that they don't have access to. In fact, you'll see a lot of them complaining on the internet about not even getting into certain club sections. Okay, so then wouldn't that mean that Exoticals are able to get access to spaces that you can't get access to? According to your own talking points. This is not me trying to make fun of them. This is literally just me repeating their own talking points. So do you see how we expose them as soon as we repeat what they say? Even if you look at YouTube trends, ever since the Exoticals came onto the YouTube spaces, suddenly unambiguous women want to talk about pretty privilege and their experiences with that. Suddenly they want to discuss sociology. I have never seen an unambiguous woman create a channel that is a sociology-based channel that specifically discusses privilege stacking, social strategy, and how to use privileges to your advantage. I have never seen that until after the Exoticals came onto the scene. So once again, not only are we the standard of beauty, but we're also the standard of living. We are the standard of leveling up, and we are even the standard of YouTube niches. Because now they're changing and rebranding their YouTube channels to match the Exotical spaces. So even if they don't like me, they're still following other Exoticals in the space. They're still following brown skin Exoticals. They're following the black Exotical, and they're copying their channels. So if they're not copying my channel directly, they'll be copying other women's channels. They'll be copying Pretty in Between. So we still are seen as the face of social climbing, hypergamy, influence. Even our counterparts, the men, these are the same type of men that these women behind closed doors, they're seeking after a Russell Wilson type. They're seeking after an Aaron Pierre type. The only reason why they pretend they're not attracted to those men is because those men actually don't give them attention, or they feel like those men are better than them. So it's the same type of jealousy that unambiguous men show us MLS women. Anyway, what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.